Hello everyone, on today's video tutorial we are going to learn what's a primary source and how to read it carefully applying investigation methods. I believe this is a fundamental ability to practice because either if you want to become, let's say, a computer programmer, a CEO, a journalist, a school bus driver, a biologist, or for instance a dancer, you'll have to know how to apply this technique. Why is this important? Well, this is important because it will help you understand what causes what in society. It will help you in any future decision you'll take. It makes you a critical thinker, so it makes you smarter. And it's something that you do anytime. You only need to get better at it. What is this about? This is about thinking of who, when, and where someone said, wrote, or made something. For instance, why is these people demonstrating in the middle of the street and causing trouble to the drivers? Who? Who are they? They are doctors. Where and when? This is going on in Barcelona in the year 2010, right after the government has shut down hospitals, and they don't want that. Another example. Why has Cristiano Ronaldo released a movie? Who is he? Well, he is a football player who is ambitioning the Golden Ball trophy for the best football player of 2015. When and where has been released? 1 month before the trophy will be given. And what happened that year? His rival Lionel Messi has won La Liga, the Spanish Cup, and the Champions League the last season, and he is running as favorite. But you may be thinking, why am I saying that? Why I have chosen this example? I am supporting FC Barcelona? I think you should question everything you hear or see, what the TV, your teachers or textbooks say, but do it politely and prove it. Stick to the reliable evidences. The last example, for example, is when Columbus first got to America. He said the Native Americans were really intelligent. And 1 year after, nevertheless, he said they were damn, primitive and dangerous. Why he changed his mind? Well, if we know that months after his arrival, Columbus enslaved, slaughtered and expelled Native Americans from their lands, we may come across with the idea that he needed to say that they were primitive to justify his actions. If they are inferior, if they are primitive, I can make them slaves and make them work for free, for instance. This is analyzing, and this is investigating, guys. This is doing history. And when doing it well, it makes us smarter. We get our own conclusions, which is way better than listening to someone who claims knowing what happened and might want to lie to us. Having said that, I think we are ready to know what is a primary source. What's a primary source document? Well, it's an evidence and is an original material that has been created during the time in study and has not been altered in any way. So it's original, it has been made at a particular period of time, and it has not been altered. I will walk you through some examples so you will have a clear picture. Memoirs, autobiographies or diaries like this one written by Anne Frank, for instance, before she was killed by the Nazis, are a primary source. Is a map a primary source? It depends. If it has been done during the time of study, like this map, which is from the 19th century, yes. By the way, you see these two fortresses here in Ciutadella and Montjuic. These are the only two fortresses in the whole Europe that they were built up to bomb its own population in Barcelona. Are pictures a primary source? Yes, unless they are fake or photoshopped, they are. The first one is 1937 Mussolini's airstrikes over Barcelona to help his fellow Franco to win the Spanish Civil War. And it proves that the inhabitants of Barcelona were the first ones on suffering airstrikes in world's history. What about the second one? The second one is Thomas Jefferson's US President house. This is a typical house of a slaves owner. And if you look at the US President houses before George Washington, you learn that most of them they owned slaves. What if your first leaders of your country's history were slave owners? Would that explain racism in your country? The last example is these stones or silex. Who made them? Well, if we dig in a little, we'll find out that our ancestors used sharp tools for hunting, cutting, or making fire for at least 3 million years ago. These artifacts are an evidence that tell us how we lived a long time ago. I hope you get a better idea of what a primary source is and how much information we can get out of them. Right before jumping on the how to analyze step by step a primary source, I would like to let you know what is a secondary source. Secondary sources are interpretations we make about a primary source. So, for instance, if I analyze these stones, if I reach to some conclusions and I make them public, for instance, by releasing a documentary, publishing a book, or writing a paper, making it viral through YouTube platform. This last product has been done in 2016, not 3 billion years ago. They are obviously an interpretation of the silex, and they would be therefore a secondary source. Okay, that's all basically. And enough with the theory. Let's get down to business and apply scientific analysis to one document in particular.